Hey guys, welcome back to Dee's Bees. I'm Andy, and thank you for joining us on another exciting adventure into our backyard beekeeping. So today is a very special day. We're going to be performing a mid-winter check on our precious little bees. So in normal conditions, we would not be opening the hive this late into winter. But because the last check showed very low honey reserves, we are going to do a quick little check to make sure that they have enough food to survive throughout the rest of winter. So we're only performing this brief check today because the temperatures here in South Texas have been in the upper 60s for a few days, and the bees can be actively seen coming and going from their hive foraging for food. So when we first opened the hive, the first thing right off the bat that we noticed was that there was a water stain pattern in the bottom of the hive, along with a group of dead bees. This was very concerning, especially since the bees could have died due to the exposure of the cold water. So for a healthy colony of bees to thrive, there should not be any outside elements getting into their home. Much like our own homes, we don't like to have water on the floors or leaks in our roof, and since we know that the construction of this hive is secure, this water could only have been caused by rain being blown in through the door from heavy winds or possibly from the excessive storms that we've had here recently. So we decided to turn the beehive around and face it towards the fence, which is away from the direct wind path, to hopefully prevent this from happening again. So as you can see here on several of the frames, they are completely empty of honey or still have very low amounts of it. So for this reason, we will supplement them again with some more honey. This time we will try a different approach because we have several days of really cold weather ahead. So we will spread the honey across one of our silicone honeycomb pot holders, and then we'll insert it below the frames inside the hive so that the bees can collect the honey inside without having to go out into the weather. Now the next thing we also noticed was that there were these little hive beetles on most of the frames. Now hive beetles are a pest and they like to steal the honey, and their larvae eat on the pollen and on the brood, and they add stress to the hive and make it a lot harder to survive in the wintertime. So think of them as like unwanted visitors that come over to your house, they take all your food without asking, they refuse to help out, and then they won't leave until you force them to. So for this reason, we will be adding a beetle trap to reduce their numbers and the stress, hopefully, on the hive. Now the next thing we check was the brood. This is the name given to young bee development. So this rusty looking capped comb here is the area where the eggs have been laid already and are starting to hatch. So think of this area as the little bee nursery. Now this shiny white area here inside the comb is where the larvae or the newborn baby bees are. So the bee head you see next to it here protruding from the comb is actually a juvenile bee that is almost ready to join the colony. So we do our very best to leave these little guys alone and not to disturb them too much. Now after our wellness check, we then put our hive back together with tender loving care, and we use this bee brush, which is a super soft bristled brush, to help move the bees without squishing them, because the last thing we would ever want to do is to harm a bee during this process. So take your time and do this with great care and patience. So until next time, be kind, be happy, and be healthy, and remember to subscribe for more beekeeping adventures.